Welcome to the Combative Nerds Podcast. Join us. What? They told me they fixed it. Oh, guys, I don't think we're going to have the juice for a full episode, so instead we're going to bring you a rapid fire. Oh, the Fighter Wizard. My bad. Sorry about the hyperdrive.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Raiderlance and
Fighter Wizard.
And you can't see this, but Fighter Wizard's pussy is going all up in his face, and I just saw something I wasn't supposed to see on that cat.
Yeah, that's what cats do.
Fighter Wizard got a brand new cat.
No, my daughter got a kitten. I didn't get a cat.
Of course, she's walking across the desk and whipping her tail in front of his nose just so he won't be able to sleep properly.
Yeah, I never knew I was allergic to cats until we have cats. We have a cat.
I never knew I was allergic to kids until I had them. So,
yeah, so if you do hear strange like rattlings or the occasional swear word from me that's like not in a conversation, it is because the cat has knocked something over or has crawled across my desk or something.
Or is using you as a scratching post.
He only does that when he very much does it, but okay.
Right. Oh, this cat loves you. Wow.
Yeah.
Black cat, brave move.
Oh, he's cute.
No, I like black cats. I just know a lot of people are freaked out about them for silly reasons and superstitions.
Oh, so we took my daughter over to the house where they had a litter of kittens to be adopted, and he's the one that came over and sat in her lap. So she, of course, instantly fell in love. Of course, melted. It was a perfect experience. Anyway, please, let's go on to something,
We are supposed to be here to review Last of Us Episode 4. Please like, share, subscribe. I'm sure you guys are all still listening after our discussion about kittens.
It humanizes us.
Yeah. Now, we are having a giveaway for a $100 gift card as a thank you for all of your guys' support. Make sure to check out IEG's video, dropping on Saturday the 18th. Read the description. In it, you have the details, rules, and how to enter to win. So, Episode 4. Let's do the quick format. What did you like? What you didn't like? What was important to you? Fighter Wizard, what did you like?
So, what I liked was this showed... So, in every episode, we see a different look at what post-apocalypse means in the United States. In the first, we see sort of a ground eye view. We see the apocalypse happen, and then we see what it looks like in a city. In the second episode, we see what it looks like beyond the city where people no longer live. Sure. In the third episode, we see what the world looks like just between two people that live together, building a life, a small island of their life in that world. Mm-hmm. It's really hard to see what the apocalypse looks like because it's not the focus of the episode. In this one, that camera pans out a lot and you see big snapshots of the whole world because they're driving through the United States. Mm-hmm. So you see empty amusement parks, you see coffee shops with nobody in them, you see overgrown highways and cities. It's very, very interesting. It's taken a lot from the game. It really follows the game. So anyway, that's what I enjoyed was the camera panning out constantly and seeing a larger world of the apocalypse or after the apocalypse. And also this is the first one where at least to me, I felt like Joel and Ellie's relationship becomes a lot more solid. Mm. It becomes, there's overt nods to that developing paternal instinct that he has towards her. And granted, he says, "You're cargo." Right. But his behavior doesn't match that. Right. Or it starts not to match that. And there were cool action set pieces like the Joel and Ellie shootout. Sure. Or I guess more like the Joel shootout. And, I guess those are my favorite parts. What did you like?
I liked that a lot of this made me feel like I was back in the game. With them traveling to get to the city, how they have to take the turnoff, how they end up getting, for lack of a better term, robbed or carjacked in this situation, and how they crash into the building and then you have this shootout inside the building. I like how they mimicked pushing Ellie through a vent to go open a door that has been barricaded on the other side. This and the museum scene felt like the game. So I really enjoy that. I also liked the building of the relationship between Joel and Ellie. You could see him fighting it. He wants to keep her as cargo. He doesn't want to have that relationship with her. And Ellie is just constantly chipping away at him, making these dad jokes, doing these great one-liners about hey, it's only my second day in a fucking car. When he's asking her to read the map, like she's just with a little.
You forget that she hasn't had these experiences.
and he
And
he is the typical non-patient father.
Well, she's reminding him, and she's also reminding us, because of course we don't live in a world where someone hasn't been in a car.
Right.
It's unthinkable that someone hasn't ever seen an airplane or hasn't been in a car, hasn't played a video game.
Yeah.
But she's like, hey, fucking hitting us over the head with it, and him like, hey, this is my second day in a fucking car. I can't read a map.
Yeah.
My first thought was like, how can you not read a map?
Exactly.
Who didn't teach you how to read a map?
So you just everything from him just teaching her about the world all the time. Gas breaks down. This is why we have to do that. Here's how to read a map. Here's how to put on a seatbelt. Here's how to hold a gun. Like, just there's no way he can avoid having a father-daughter relationship with this young girl. It's in the cards. So I would say that's the primary thing I like most about this episode. I also did like the action scene. I don't want to say it was realistic, but the scene where Allie comes and saves Joel's life, and then Joel sends her away to finish off the job. I thought the acting was great by the kid panicking, not being able to feel his leg, just throwing shit at the wall to try to survive. Allie knew it was game over for the guy. Joel knew it was game over for the guy. And it was a solid scene how in my mind's eye, I think that situation would play out.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I also like the choice that he had. He didn't shoot him when it was time to kill him.
Save the bullet.
I like that he made that save the bullet, exactly. And at first I thought, like, well, I guess maybe he didn't want to make noise, but that makes no sense because they just had a gunfight.
Right.
And then he needed to save a bullet. And I instantly thought of in the first movie where he saves the plastic bag from pills.
Plus, this idiot just handed him a large ass knife and went, here you go, take my knife, be a friend. Hey, dude, you just sealed your fate.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to go there. I mean, his mind was cloudy from blood loss and the rush of adrenaline.
Yeah, I'm getting conked over the head too. So,
yeah, the action set pieces were pretty cool. I think what I didn't like, well, one thing I will say is, again, this movie, I keep calling it a movie. The show, I think because it is an episodic show and not a movie, has sort of luxury to really draw out the experience of living in this world. I Am Legend with Will Smith, I think that was 2012, maybe 2013. It had that same sort of feel. It takes place in New York. It's after, an infectious agent ravages the world pre-COVID. And New York is overgrown. There's deer in the streets. He's driving down Fifth Avenue at top speed. And he's the only one living in the city. And it's a gut punch to see it because you're like in Times Square and no one's there except for him, and there's trees growing up out of the asphalt. Here, there's that same sort of thing, but you get to spend so much more time in that world, and it's not as big of an action movie or action film medium show that, I don't know, you feel it more. Like it wears you down almost. So I think that's one more thing that I liked. But one of the things I did not like was that Perry, the guy who carries the assault rifle, I don't know what the weapon is. I'm going to say assault rifle, but I don't want to say it.
Yeah.
He carries a rifle.
Yeah.
And he follows along with the militaristic woman as part of the society that lives in what city are they in? Kansas City?
Yeah.
He looks exactly like Will Forte, who was a Saturday Night Live actor who played MacGruber. And it is not Will Forte. And for a week, I've been telling people like, dude, Will Forte is in Last of Us. And he is not. And I even found an article online that talked about Will Forte's clone lookalike.
Oh, boy.
Blah, 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 his name. So that's what I didn't like about the episode.
I thought that actor did a great job being, let's just call him the lieutenant to the female militia leader. I will say, I didn't like the female militia leader. She's a horrible actor, at least in this role.
I didn't buy her. I did not buy her.
I didn't buy her when she shot the guy. I didn't buy her when she was interrogating the guy. I didn't buy her when she was giving the speech about finding Henry. Bad casting. Bad casting. I think she could have been fantastic in another role. Probably dead on the slab, being infected in Jakarta. I might have done well on that one, but
dude,
sorry, it's a callback to episode 2. All right, I'm sorry, ma'am. You were the least of us in the episode 4.
Oh, nice. Nice. I see what you
Thank
did
you.
there. That's very, very Ellie of you. Yeah, I would agree with you. I think her acting is probably good in a different context, but she wasn't right for this part, in my opinion. She wasn't believable as this militaristic, hard-edged leader.
Gestapo commander. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we will see a different side of her. Maybe that role will be expanded in episode 5. But as far as this one, nothing about her said to me, yes, these people will follow you. This man will take orders from you.
In her defense, I think they did a horrible dialogue for her. For example, they bring the 2 attackers of Joel and Ellie from the carjacking, and they brought her over to her, and she's like, "Oh, will he live? I don't think so. What if I have a doctor? I still don't think so." And then she walks over and shoots the doctor. Like, it was just very clunky, doesn't make sense. I'm assuming Henry ratted all the neighbors out to Fedra, and maybe he's connected with Fedra, but like, I didn't know her motivation. I didn't know why she was so angry. We got hints at it. The doctor was colluding with Henry and Fedra, ratting out everybody in charge. They needed to give her more time to flesh out her character. She needed that time.
Yeah.
And she did not get it.
Yeah, that's fair. So it felt to me we were being very much brought into the middle of whatever story is happening in Kansas City right now.
Right.
There is no connection whatsoever to any of these people, any of their history. So when they start talking about Henry and the doctor, the ratting out the Fedra thing, that makes total sense. No idea, but there's some sort of betrayal or something like that, or at least the story thereof. So we're just brought into it, and because there's no connection, like it's just this weird kind of like, oh, okay, shit. It's like looking in a completely different window of a house and seeing someone else's film. He just knocked over the trash can.
Nice.
3, 2, 1. Actually, that was my point.
So what do you think that big old hole was that female commander and lieutenant should have told everybody about but didn't?
Will Forte from Saturday Night Live.
I'm assuming there's a bunch of zombie hordes going to break through and destroy their town.
I want to say it's something that's not a zombie horde. I want it to be something more terrible, because zombie horde is a little bit too much Walking Dead. I know you like Walking Dead. I don't. But we've seen zombie get the fuck off my balls. Away. Go away. I will feed you in a second. I want it to be something besides a zombie horde, because we've seen that before. And by this point, I sort of expect this show to do better than what we've seen before. So even if I'm quote unquote disappointed and it's a zombie horde, I think it'll be done in such a way that it'll still have that sort of fresh, like, grossness or fresh gut punch of horror along with it.
Hopefully.
That's at least what I'm hoping for.
Well, one last thing I liked about this episode. I assumed this is what they're going for. Maybe I'm projecting a little bit here. But when Joel put the kid down that Ellie shot in the back to save Joel, I felt like he was doing this to protect her innocence. Whatever shred of innocence she had left. I know she just shot somebody, but not only does he tell her to go away, he puts the kid down, but he also later tells Ellie, "You didn't kill him." He gave her something to rationalize what she did so that she wouldn't have to live with that guilt, because he felt she was too young to deal with it.
Well, throughout the whole episode, he'd been, in little ways, trying to protect her from something he didn't think she should see.
Right.
When she pulls out the porno mag that Bill
That's
had,
a great point.
He's like, "Hey, wait, you're not supposed to see that." And she made a joke as to why the pages are sticky, and then throws it out. And then later on, that's almost a foreshadow of later when he said, you shouldn't have had to do that. And she said, "It's not the first time I've done it."
Right.
And then when he asks, she won't tell him. Now, we are well beyond any of the part that I've ever played of the game, because I only got as far as the first episode, and not even all the way through the first episode in terms of gameplay for me. I know you've played the game, so you might have an idea of what happens. I know in the game that the city they're in is Pittsburgh, not Kansas City. I'm guessing there's parallels.
I don't remember, man. I should have watched it before doing this episode. Because I've actually been going back and watching some of the walkthroughs in relationship to the episodes. I didn't do this one. All I knew is that they do.
I don't want to watch those. I want to be surprised.
I do know that there was. I want to say there was a blockade. They had to go into the city as a detour, and that they did get jumped. That is the extent I remember of it.
Okay.
I do know there was a Henry, but I don't think it was the same storyline. But I can't remember. I'm going to have to go back and at least watch the Henry story in the video game.
So that brings up the thing that I truly didn't like about the episode, which is they get to Kansas City. There's no reason expressed in the show for them to go through Kansas City, other than that it would take a long time. Why would someone as smart and resourceful as Joel go through a city where he knows there will be people and he knows there will be infected? Why not just take state roads or back roads around the city? Easy to do.
I don't know. I don't know if it was resource management because of gas. I don't know if Fedra clears near the cities or if there's more infected around quarantine zones.
One line of dialogue could have.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, I would have already been dead in this world.
Sure.
Day one.
Sure.
But still, I'm like, it seems like you wouldn't go through like the one place you knew there were people
that is
and
a good
infected.
But that's a good point because earlier in this episode, he made it a big point that infected were not the issue anymore. It was people, raiders, marauders.
Exactly.
And so I would agree with you that he would avoid people as much as possible. I don't know if it was feasible, right?
So I guess in both of the things we didn't like, it comes down to a bad casting choice and maybe bad dialogue.
Yeah.
Bad writing in a few of the things.
I think they definitely could have tightened up a number of scenes in this show with better dialogue. Oh, no, I would agree with you. I can't really say.
The video game part of me says the thing under the floor is a boss battle.
Probably. I believe the boss battle should have happened in the Bill and Frank story in the video game. That's where the first major boss battle comes through. Maybe they moved it around.
Is the boss that you're emotions?
No. The boss is the bloater that they reference. In a gymnasium, you have to fight him. The guy's freaking hard. Get a Molotov cocktail his ass to death.
Nice. Oh, good. And knowing that this is Last of Us, you have to spend 2 hours farming ingredients to craft it.
Pretty much. So I can't say there was too much I didn't like other than the few things we pointed out. One thing I did like, I thought the CGI was amazing in this. It did not detract from the show at all. I was a huge fan of it.
They have consistently hit that. The CGI is so well blended, so well done. It is difficult for me to tell when they're, other than giant set pieces, it's difficult for me to tell when they're using CGI and when they're not, which is a hallmark of excellent CGI. And not overuse on it.
That is true. So why was this episode important to you?
It wasn't. It wasn't it's important. It was cool. It was good. It was good to see the merging relationship. It's important to the story. But as far as why was this episode important? Unlike a lot of the last, this is the weakest episode I've seen. It didn't do anything different.
Sure.
It was the story of the game put forth by the game, not shot for shot, but pretty close. And it's a world building episode. It sets some of the rules of the world we're going to go through.
Okay. I would say it had 2 points of significance for me. One, you are finally a team with Ellie in this episode, where you were a team in the video game. This is where they're actually working together. He's giving her orders. She's following them. She's going through vents. She's opening doors. She's protecting him when he gets jumped. He's finishing off the job. He's still protecting her. So they're an action team. The second part is this is the first episode where she breaks him, right? She actually gets him to laugh with one of those puns. So now you get the second layer of they now have a bond, father-daughter bond. They're just not traveling companions anymore. So I thought this, maybe not necessarily important, but it solidified the dynamic that you find in the game that you get right from the get-go. Now I actually feel like they're a team. Now I actually feel like they're a father-daughter relationship.
That's a good point.
Well, any final thoughts on this?
No, I'm more waiting for episode 5. I think some shit's going to go down.
Absolutely.
But to be honest with you, I'm excited for those kind of whiz-bang moments, but I'm so impressed by the smaller moments the show's able to create and actually deliver a firmer punch on that those are the ones I'm waiting for.
Wow. Well, we are going to try to stay up to date now with these rapid fire episodes. Do one per week. We're kind of behind recording, technical issues. You can listen to my update last week if you want to hear exactly why we're behind, but hopefully we will stay up to date from here on out. So if you guys are willing to listen, we are willing to talk. Thank you much. Bye. That's it. That's our show. Join FighterWizard and myself for our next rapid fire episode where we will be discussing The Last of Us, episode 5. Please do us a favor and like, subscribe, share this podcast so we can get some traction.
Once I get around to it, check us out on our socials. Combative Nerds on Patreon, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. You know the deal. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you next episode.